All right, I'm currently on the phone with everybody but Jay, and I'm going to go ahead and give him the chance to introduce himself.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Jay from Everybody But Jay, and I we make music. It's like hip hop meets funk meets jam. It's kind of all over the place in one like really nicely, neatly folded package. I really like to, have songs with meaning, and sometimes the meaning is to be silly.
Sure, absolutely. That's absolutely valid as well. All right, so let's kind of get into some of the details here. Tell me about when you kind of first encountered music as something that spoke to your personality that you wanted to participate in and pursue.
I think the oldest memory was like I'm in this kindergarten class and it's me and this kid. Only one person I knew. His name was Jeffrey because our moms were friends and we drop each other off. And he's like, "Oh, do you know that song? Say it ain't so. I will not go." And I was like, "Yeah." And we started singing it. And then somehow, somewhere, I knew all the words. And I just remember extensively like jumping up in the air. It's kindergarten. You can get away with a lot more. You can't really do that in a classroom setting. And since then, I just have like countless and countless memories of tuning with radios while I'm doing my homework, or, American Idol became a show and my mom allowed me to stay up an hour later just because she just understood that that was the frequency that I was on.
Awesome, that's cool. At what age do you think that kind of turned into an interest in beginning to make music?
I think the interest really started in like 10 years old. I had a teacher who allowed me to submit all my literature work in poetry form. Now, that was awesome. I loved it. I was like, "Ooh, I want to make music. I want to do this." And all I got was backlash. All I got was, "That's not what makes money." All I got was, "Nah, you can't. Do you know how few people really make it?" I got so much discouragement, and it it didn't really come back until I was in my 20s and I took some mushrooms and I decided, actually, sorry about that, actually, in like, I do want to do this and fuck what everybody says. I didn't know that I could say fuck what everybody says when I was younger. I just thought like I had to listen.
Okay, so it sounds like there was a gap of almost a decade there of where, that discouragement kind of took over. Tell me about, post mushroom trip where it became more of a, I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to get back into it. I don't care what other people think.
Yeah, there was like a few trips for sure that led up to it. The first one that I've ever taken, I was like 20, 21 maybe. And I turned to my friend and I said, "I feel like I was carrying a knapsack my whole life. And I just took it off and I left it over there." He's like, "Do you need to get it?" I was like, "No, no, no, it's not a real bag. Like, I just left it there and I'm feeling much better." And from there, there was a few other trips. It came down to COVID, where one of my friends, and this is like the end, I'm just go from the first trip that like set off where I started taking it more seriously and started recording a little bit, but I still, didn't quit my day job. I was a special ed teacher until the time where I was like, everything else has to go because music has to be it. It was a few years later. I was in Mexico and I've never taken that many mushrooms in my life. And I took 10 grams, 11 grams, something like that. It was New Year's and I had just bumped into a friend who said, "Hey, you have to check out this radio station in Tulum." Mind you, we're in Cancun. It's like an hour and a half bus ride. I know zero Spanish. I get on this bus. I go to the studio. They introduce me to the guy who owns it. Luckily, he speaks English. And shout out Mandeep. And he's like, "I love your concept of the first album was like pop punk meets jazz." And he's like, "I like this." It was like Blink 182 meets Dean Martin. And the night before, I was just in my head with all these ideas and saying like, "Ooh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this." And I had this theme of I am a musician, just what I am. You can't fight it. You can't not be it. You just are, and you got to live with it. All the struggles, considered, all of the, imposter syndrome, all the backlash, all the, "Oh, we care about you and you're spending your formative years plucking strings." And it's just like, I have to do this.
Okay. So out of that event, was an album created, or was that kind of an initial event to kind of get you back in the environment, and then from there you kind of took your ideas home with you and then started crafting it.
That was like a little bit of all over the place in that last question that you asked before. So I'm just going to jump in and just be so direct. I still battle those demons. We literally, like, produced an album as fast as possible. We spent a month like really, really doing it every day, 7-hour days. I hired musicians, and guess what? I put out 2 of those songs. And of the 2 songs that I put out, they were done half-assed because I was anxious avoidant. And that's something I deal with in a lot of areas that I am working hard on, between like self-help books, therapy, stuff like that. So this album that we made never really fucking came out. Nonetheless, I'm looking at a stack of notebooks right now in my house that are full of songs that I've never written and never produced, never put out, never whatever. I just like, it's the dumbest thing ever. And I'm really ready to turn a new leaf. Honestly, I'm approaching 30 and I'm just like, stop being a little bitch.
Sure. Well, you did get the 2 songs out in whatever state they are. At least you were able to accomplish that. There are a lot of mental demons out there that kind of, take control of us sometimes and prevent us from doing the things that we know we want or should do. At least you were able to work through those to get those 2 songs out.
Shout out Rebecca, my therapist. But yeah.
So tell me about kind of where that leads to next. You mentioned that you have a bunch of lyrics sitting in a stack of notebooks that you want to work on. Are you looking to get people together to come in and be like session musicians, or are you trying to put a band together? What is your like kind of projection and vision for what you're working on?
I think the songs that I wrote were very true to back then, and the songs that I'm writing now are true to now. So the approach I'm taking is just to continue writing. I do play with the band, and we replaced the guitarist. So basically, last summer I was really having this like, fuck this, get over it feeling. And the band dismantled. The band, funny enough, is called Everybody But Jay. And all the members decided we start another band without Jay. And it's hilarious. And I love them and I support them. It wasn't like that at all. It was just a different approach. And it kind of set me back. It kind of said, hey, Jay, like that. It was discouraging and encouraging at the same time. I said, oh, that sucks. And I said, I'm just going to be the best singer that I can be and work my ass off on my craft for a year and then rebuild the band. So we just rebuilt the band, and I know that we have 3 songs in the tank, and they're coming out on July 13th at our release show. I know we're supposed to talk that stuff after, but just like, happens to be like, that's where I'm at right now. I just want to write new songs and new opportunities and just follow through with them and work in an organized fashion and continue working on my mental health and just really fucking put the thing out finally. That's all.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. So tell me about some of the memories that you have that are very prominent to you, that stick out to you about music. You've gone over some that have been kind of pivotal to getting you back in the reins of your own musical adventure. But what are some other memories or stories that you have that also kind of add to that ambition?
Yeah. And I love the way you worded that. It's very, very well articulated. So I appreciate that. I think like a few memories for sure. The music is like my first time seeing Paul McCartney, like the most magical thing ever. I thought like, he's old, he's washed up. Oh my God, like my life, I fainted. And that's like probably the most like epic one. I think other memories with music is literally like, all right, so I'll be real with you, vulnerable space. I always promote vulnerability. So through this, I hope to promote more people to share their story. I was abused a shit ton physically by like my immediate family growing up. And I grew up like 3 miles from the beach at Coney Island. And my therapist even asked, she said, well, what did you fight, flight, or freeze? And I said, no, like I ran, but when I run, I just get 3 miles away from home and there's a body of water and there's nothing I could do. I can't run further than that. And she said, well, what would you do then? And I said, and I started bawling, crying, and my hands started fidgeting. And I look at her and I'm like, I need to untangle my headphones And music was just such a savior for me. Like, people say this song saved my life. I'm telling you, this entire art form of vibrations is the only reason why I'm here right now.
That's perfect. That's absolutely valid and relatable. I think there's a story in there that I think a lot of people can relate to, especially considering that music, as you put it, is vibration. And that's the way that a lot of soothing happens through music. That's the entire concept behind music therapy, is, healing people with the vibrational energy of music.
Alex, can I just jump in there? I don't know if you knew this. We have a nonprofit. We help kids with special needs get music therapy programs.
There it is. I didn't know that was coming.
Everywhere. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. That's all I have to say to that is yes.
Awesome. Perfect. Very cool. So tell me what your social media links are, where people can find your project and stuff once you start releasing more material. You said you have stuff coming out in about 2 weeks here.
Yes, sir. Can confirm. 2 weeks we will have music out. At least one song, and then hopefully every 2 weeks a song. Like we said, we got the notebooks. Our brain doesn't stop with the ideas. The melodies just come all day. Thank you, ADHD. But you can find me at Everybody But J. That's on everything. EverybodyButJ.com, Instagram, X, whatever. And also the nonprofit is at East 7th Arts. It's like the direction, like 7th place in Mario Kart, and then arts, like multiple forms of art.
Perfect. All right. Well, so what's a message that you have that you want to share with other people?
Let your biggest dreams be your baseline. I do not see a world and a life where I'm not doing music. It's crippling to know that that's the only life I see and I can hardly get myself to do it. It's just, that is what I want to do. It's not like shoot for the stars and land on the moon. Fuck that. Those stars should be your baseline. And you should promote that idea to everyone. And yeah,